So, AI, it's one of the most powerful tools we've ever built, right? But with all that power, how do you keep it from, going completely off the rails? Well, that's what we're digging into today. We're talking about the critical safety features that make AI trustworthy. Guardrails.
Okay, so let's just look at this. On one side, you ask an AI a harmful question, and with no safety net, you get a pretty dangerous and unpredictable answer. But on the other side, with a guardrail in place, that same AI spots the risk and just says, nope, can't help with that. That simple difference, that's everything. It's what separates a helpful tool from a serious liability.
Yeah, this really shows you how generative AI is a total double-edged sword. That incredible power we just saw comes with some huge risks. And we're not just talking about risks for you, the user, but for the businesses that are actually putting these tools out there.
And look, these aren't just little glitches. You're talking about an AI that can confidently just make stuff up. We call those hallucinations. Or it could spit out toxic, biased content. It might even leak sensitive personal data or totally wreck a company's brand. And when that happens, all the trust you need for this tech to be useful, poof, it's gone.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How do we handle all these risks, but still tap into all the amazing things AI can do? Well, the answer is all about building and using really effective guardrails.
I love this analogy of a mountain road. It's just perfect. AI guardrails are exactly that. They're the safety barriers. Their whole job is to keep a conversation from swerving into dangerous or weird territory, just making sure the whole thing stays safely on the road.
So what are they, really? Think of guardrails as a proactive defense system. They're basically a collection of rules and filters that are always checking two things: what you, the user, are asking, and what the AI is about to say back. The goal is to stop any bad interactions before they can even happen.
All right, so we get the what. But now for the fun part. How do these things actually work? Let's pop the hood. It's not like one big brick wall. It's more like a series of checkpoints that every single AI interaction has to clear. Okay, so here's the flow. It's a multi-step thing. First, you type in your prompt. Right away, an input guardrail scans it for anything problematic. Then, the AI does its thing and comes up with an answer. But, and this is key, before you ever get to see that answer, a second output guardrail checks it for safety, accuracy, you name it. Only if it passes both of those checks does that final polished answer make it to your screen.
So how do developers actually build these checkpoints? Well, they've got a whole toolkit. It can be something as simple as a list of blocked keywords, or they can get more complex, using things like regular expressions. That's just a fancy way to say they're looking for specific patterns in the text. They even build entire machine learning models, whose only job is to sniff out toxic language or flag topics that are supposed to be off limits.
Okay, remember those hallucinations we talked about, where the AI just makes stuff up? One of the best ways to fight that is a strategy called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. The easiest way to think about it is like giving the AI an open book test. Instead of just guessing, it's forced to go look up the answer in a trusted knowledge base before it's allowed to respond. This keeps its answers grounded in fact, not fiction.
Here's another cool one: chain of thought prompting. This is literally like telling the AI to show its work, just like your old math teacher used to. By forcing the model to lay out its reasoning step by step, you make it way less likely that it'll just leap to the wrong conclusion or make a silly logical mistake. And then there's a really big one, a huge piece of the puzzle: reinforcement learning from human feedback. You'll hear it called RLHF, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. You have actual humans who sit there and rate the AI's answers. This one's good, this one's bad. This creates this constant feedback loop that teaches the model to prefer helpful, factual answers and to avoid the made-up stuff.
And does this stuff actually work? Oh yeah, the impact is huge. Just that RLHF training alone led to a 40% reduction in factual errors in models like GPT-4. I mean, think about that. That's a massive jump in reliability, all because of that human feedback loop.
Okay, but here's where it gets really wild. What happens when you start combining these strategies? The results are, well, they're almost hard to believe. A study out of Stanford found that when you layer these techniques together, you can cut down on hallucinations by 96%. Let me say that again, a 96% reduction. I mean, that is a complete game changer when it comes to trusting these systems.
So, up to this point, we've mostly been talking about preventing accidental screw-ups, right? But guardrails have another super important job. They have to act as a defense against deliberate attacks. We're talking about people trying to trick the AI into misbehaving.
You've probably heard this called jailbreaking, and it's this constant cat and mouse game. Attackers get really clever, trying to sneak past the safety filters. They'll do things like try to hide a bad instruction inside a seemingly innocent one, or use weird spellings and symbols to smuggle forbidden words past the AI's defenses. This is why having strong, robust guardrails is just absolutely critical. It's the main line of defense.
So, what this all really boils down to is a super important point. AI safety isn't about one single magic tool. There's no silver bullet. It's all about building a defense in layers. And it's a shared responsibility, right? It's shared between the big companies that build these huge AI models and the developers who then use those models to create apps. Think of it like this. On one side, you've got the model producers. They're doing the heavy lifting, cleaning up the training data, trying to align the AI with human values. Then, on the other side, you have the model consumers, the people building the apps. Their job is to take that base model, fine-tune it for what they need, and then wrap it in their own extra layers of guardrails.
And for those developers building the apps, there are a ton of options out there. They can write their own simple keyword filters if they need something super fast. Or they can use these big, comprehensive services that are no-code, where a lot of the safety stuff is just handled for them. Every option is a bit of a trade-off, you know? You're always balancing how much control you want, how much safety coverage you need, and how fast the thing responds.
All right, so let's look ahead. Where is this all going? Because as these AI models get more and more powerful, and they're doing it at an exponential rate, the guardrails that protect them have to evolve just as fast.
What we're starting to see is the next generation of guardrails, which are going to be way more dynamic and intelligent. We're talking about systems that don't just see keywords, but actually understand the context of a conversation. They'll pick up on nuance, on tone, on the user's intent. And even cooler, they'll be able to learn and adjust themselves over time based on the feedback they get.
And that really leaves us with the big, final question, doesn't it? We're in this incredibly high-stakes race. Can our safety technology actually keep up with the breakneck speed of AI development? Because honestly, the entire future of a trustworthy and helpful AI really hangs on that answer.